Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the MTG Ghoul Dude channel. We're back again, and this time we're gonna see what Midnight Hunt has actually got for the black zombies in this set. See how well they did with their return to Innistrad. So to start it off, we're gonna start off with the only mythic for our zombie tribe, Tainted Adversary. For 1 and a black, it has Death Touch, 2/3. Man, that's a stacked stats, and that art is just gruesomely beautiful. So whenever it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 and a black any number of times. And I've heard this once before from another YouTuber. It's basically just Innistrad multi-kicker, because whenever you pay this cost 1 or more times, you may put that many counters on Tainted Adversary, then create twice that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed. Now, when I seen it on Arena not too long ago, it wasn't really that devastating. It wasn't that great either, because they weren't leaning into the zombie tribe. They were really just playing a life gain Abzan deck. So now we're going to move into our rares. The first one is Champion of the Perished. If you love Champion of the Perished for your human deck, you're going to love Champion of the Perished for your zombie deck. For 1 and a black, you get a zombie. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of the Perished. Now note, that doesn't say non-token. That's any zombie in general. And its base stats is a 1/1. Then we're going to look at the buy a box art for Champion of the Perished. Man, I love just the Innistrad set in general because of the art and the gloomy and the darkness. And then we're going to move into our first non-zombie. It's Gisa, Glorious Resurrector. For 2 generic and 2 black, we're going to get a legendary human wizard. If a creature in opponent control would die, exile it instead. So we're basically just getting a Leyline of the Void effect, but with a bonus. Because at the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Gisa onto the battlefield under your control. They gain Decayed. They keep their stats. They keep their abilities. The only thing is, you have to make sure she stick around for the whole turn until it gets back to you, and then you finally get to take all that good stuff from the graveyard. And then we're going to look at the black-white cards, the black-white versions, which are just, I love this old Frankenstein-y black-white TV look. It's just, it brings out so much you get so much detail in these cards. Now we're going to move on to our other human, Jadar, Ghoulcaller of Nephilia. For 1 and a black, we get a legendary human wizard. At the beginning of your end step, if you control no creatures with Decayed, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Now, I don't think this would be too great for our tribe. We just get a 2/2. But I mean, if you're running like a sacrifice deck, or anything that just wants to make sure you have something to sacrifice, this probably wouldn't be that bad, unless you get board wiped. And then we move on to the black-white version. Oh, did I say once that I already loved the Innistrad art and Innistrad in general? Yeah. And then we move on to our uncommons. Ghoulish Procession. For 1 and a black, an enchantment. Whenever 1 or more, and this is the important part, non-token creatures die, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. It only triggers once each turn. And that's another important part. Each turn. Not just your turn, every turn. So if you got a lot of stuff dying, or you got a sacrifice deck, guess what? You're about to start popping out zombies like zombies pop out. Then we're going to move into our common creatures. First, we got Siege Zombie. For 1 and a black, it's a 2/2. Tap 3 untapped creatures you control. Each opponent loses 1 life. Now, I would like to say this is a retake on a rare from Eldritch Moon, Crypt Breaker. Because Crypt Breaker's ability also says tap 3 untapped zombies you control. You draw a card and you lose a life. But the only difference between this one is it just says untapped creatures. So it's a little less restrictive. Now we're going to move into Hobbling Zombie. For 2 and a black, it's a 2/2 with Death Touch. But whenever Hobbling Zombie dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Now, if you have a Ghoulish Procession out, you find a way to kill this guy, you get not 1, 2, because you get 1 off the trigger, his death trigger, and 1 off the Procession trigger. And now we're going to look at Diregraph Horde. For 4 and a black, we get a 3/4. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you create 2 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed. And when you do, exile up to 2 target cards from graveyards. Not just yours, anybody's. If you can find a way to blink this, you can slowly just exile everybody else's graveyards and make a huge horde of zombies. It's kind of Grave Titan. It reminds me of Grave Titan a little bit. How it brings the boys. And now we're going to look at Mockruth Behemoth. For 4 and a black, as an additional cost to cast this spell, you sacrifice a creature, or you can pay an extra 1 and a black. But for that, you get a 7/6 with a Menace. And it's also a zombie if you're caring about zombie tribal. Zombie giant tribal, that is. And then we move into our non-creature spells. First, we get Crawl from the Cellar. For a black, it's a sorcery, but it also has Flashback for 3 and a black. You can return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, put a counter on up to 1 target zombie you control. So this is pretty good with a Champion of the Perished. You can basically just return a 1-drop or something back to your hand, put the counter on the champion, and then you can play that card, the card that you brought back, and put another counter on him. Or, and if it also has its own sacrifice ability, you can just make another token with Decayed with your Ghoulcaller Procession. Now we move into No Way Out. For 2 and a black, it's a discard spell, so target opponent discards 2 cards. You create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. It can't block. When it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. That's the Decayed reminder text. So that for a discard spell, you also get a 2/2. That's a pretty good rate. I would actually say, that's the best rate we've had in a while for, targeted discard. And now we're going to move into our last card, Rotten Reunion, and this is a great card for, for the meta we're about to go into with the graveyard heavy synergy strategies. Because for 1 black, you can exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. But it also has Flashback for 3 and a black, and it does not lose that speed that you can do it at. So you can instant speed, say, hey, 1 and a black, exile that card you're trying to bring back. Now I want to thank everybody for coming and enjoying Midnight Hunt, and I hope you all get to brew some crazy ghoulish decks. And I want to thank y'all. See you guys next time.